What's up, nation? Today let's talk about Zelda's 35th anniversary and how I believe Nintendo will be pricing these products at release. Alright everyone, so today I want to talk about what to expect when it comes to Zelda's 35th anniversary, specifically around the pricing of these games, as we now have Skyward Sword being released in HD remaster, and that is confirmed for July 16th. That also starts to beg the questions, what other Nintendo titles will we be able to expect? And if Skyward Sword HD is released at $60 by itself, does that mean that every other port that could potentially come, like your Twilight Princess and your Wind Waker HD, are those going to sit at $60 a piece as well? Well, I have some interesting data and perspectives to share on this, so I want to dive through all those details with you guys. Before we do hop into all that stuff, I want to quickly invite you all to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below, hit the like button on this video if you enjoy the content today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming and console news as we're in the new generation of gaming. But with that, guys, let's dive into the details. So if you look at Zelda fan groups anywhere on the internet right now, you are probably seeing a lot of arguments going back and forth on how Nintendo should be pricing the titles that we're expecting for Zelda's 35th anniversary. And it is mainly due to the fact that Mario did receive a 3D All-Stars collection with 3 different games, one from the N64, the GameCube, and the Wii, and it was bundled at one $60 price. However, we got a recent announcement at the most recent Nintendo Direct that they are releasing Skyward Sword HD at $60 as a standalone title. So there's a lot of fans that feel like if this is going to continue to go this route with the future titles that we can expect, most likely Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD, that if Nintendo charges $60 a title, that this is just simply unfair to the gamers, and it's Nintendo being greedy and wanting all the extra money for themselves when they could easily release these in a package together. Well, while I do tend to agree with that, I would love to see Nintendo do this. I want to share the facts and the data around why I think that they won't, and why this will be broken up into 3 $60 different releases. The one thing that I do think that we can maybe hope for is at some point an Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask pack together at $60 a piece, because those games are simply not near as long or as vast as some of the newer Zelda games that have come out, and I do think that Nintendo could potentially put those 2 remakes together, maybe if they do like the 3DS versions of them, and package them at one title. However, even if you bought Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD on the Wii U, you will probably be expected to still pay $60 each for these titles, and the reason behind that primarily, in my opinion, is because Nintendo did not successfully sell the number of units that they wanted to at those games' original release. And I can actually share with you how big the Zelda franchise has gotten since it has been on the Switch, and specifically Zelda Breath of the Wild, which is now like the most successful selling Zelda game of all time, and Nintendo knows they've created a whole new generation of fans that were not around to purchase the Wii U ports. And so I think when we do get these titles officially confirmed, which it is looking like it will happen this year according to a number of different credible gaming journalists that are stating that this will for sure be happening, I think we're more likely to see these broken up as opposed to released as a pack. While I personally would love to see them released as a pack, I want to share right now the sales data with you on what they originally did versus what something like a Breath of the Wild has done, and why Nintendo is going to absolutely charge you $60 when these games are coming out. So to start off, you have the Wind Waker, which launched in 2003 on the Nintendo GameCube and sold a grand total of 4.43 million copies. You then fast forward to 2013, 10 years later, they re-released this game on the Wii U as an HD remaster. You then have it selling only 2.33 million, so literally half of what was sold on the GameCube as far as the HD remake goes. Then let's go to the 2006 data on the Wii and GameCube, because Twilight Princess was released on both of those. Twilight Princess sold a whopping 8.85 million copies, which was obviously Nintendo was very happy with that number, especially the giant install base of the Wii helped it get there. Now you look at 2016, 10 years later, on the Wii U, you have Zelda Twilight Princess HD coming in at 1.13 million, which is an absolute fraction of what they sold originally, and that was primarily due to the limited install base of the Wii U, as that console as a whole never saw successful sales numbers. Now let's look at something in 2017 like a Breath of the Wild, which was released across the Wii U and the Switch. Let's not even factor in the Wii U, which sold 1.69 million. You have Breath of the Wild coming in at 21.45 million titles sold. So that is a ton for any game in the Zelda franchise, and to my knowledge, that is actually the best-selling Zelda game of all time. So to paint a picture for you, there was a lot of new Zelda fans that came along during this Switch era. And when you look at sales numbers like 21+ million, and then you have the contrast of the HD remasters for Wind Waker and Twilight Princess coming in at 2 and 1 million, there's no way that Nintendo doesn't know that they can go put these out there to new fans who have never paid the $60 or $50 at the original time of release of these titles, and then turn around and charge them that again this time. Now, does it seem greedy? Yes, it does. But it probably only seems greedy if you've actually paid the full price for these games already and you're in that smaller hardcore group, which I do think hopefully Nintendo justifies this cost by giving us extra content and extra really cool stuff that's in the game, so that way it's not just paying a full price for another port. But to give you guys an example, we've seen Nintendo do this in the past with almost every single Wii U port to the Switch so far. It is literally every single one, short of Bowser's Fury, has gotten very minimal content added in, and then they are simply porting that over to a newer console that is far more successful. They are charging full price for it. So you have like new Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe is a perfect example. They added in a new character. They included like the Luigi version into the game. So they basically gave you all the content that came out over the course of the Wii U release. They did nothing else to change or up-res or upscale that game. It's literally the same game as the Wii U. Still a $60 port. Then you have games like Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, which received the exact same treatment. One new character added in, very minimal new easy mode for like smaller kids to be able to get through the game. And then we have again a $60 port. Now these games were originally released at $50 on the Wii U, so they actually technically went up $10 to go and purchase them on the Switch. So that's my kind of argument against why we will see Nintendo charge this, and even us hardcore gamers don't feel like we should be paying that price. They absolutely will, because they never got the original return on investment that they were looking to get for Wind Waker HD and Twilight Princess HD. So this is at least my prediction. I could be wrong. Nintendo could come out and surprise us and say Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are on the same cartridge, and here you go, it's $60 for both of them. That will be fantastic news. But I don't want to see a bunch of fans kind of, really talk trash on Nintendo whenever they don't understand the sales perspective behind it, because at the end of the day, they are a for-profit company and they are going to do what makes the most business sense, and that's simply what we're seeing them do here with breaking up these releases at $60 a piece. And it's just simply because the Switch is so much more vastly successful than any other previous platform when it comes to hardcore gamers, because the Wii was extremely successful, but it also didn't have a huge install base of very hardcore gamers, and that's why we saw a bunch of shovelware on the Wii. Like, you saw games like Wii Sports be the highest performing. Obviously it came with it, but then you have Wii Sports Resort that was like a separate side game with more mini games, and that sold like better than just about anything else. So that's my point with Nintendo, is they know what they have right now with the Nintendo Switch, and they're getting a whole new generation of gamers who haven't experienced these titles, especially the Wii U port, since that console sold so poorly. So let's just get the expectations out there to come out at $60 a pop, and if we see anything less than that or more compilations, I will be extremely excited. But either way, I do think we're getting way more Zelda titles announced this year. I think we can probably still see a 2D remaster, which also will sell at $60 a piece, just like we saw Link's Awakening do, because Nintendo knows what they have with the Zelda franchise, and now they have the install base that they have, and they're absolutely going to come out and capitalize on that. That being said, as somebody who's actually paid full price for both of these titles, I am such a loyal Zelda fan that I will unfortunately pay this price again, and Nintendo knows there's a certain percentage of even their hardcore base who has bought those titles that will happily pay again. So yes, I'm part of the problem, but at the same time, I want to share with you guys that this is the reality of the world that we're going to be in going forward, as long as Nintendo continues to dominate the console market like we're seeing them do with the Switch this year around. And then you will even probably see a Switch Pro at some point, which I will keep my existing Switch and then purchase another Switch Pro, especially if they bundle it in with a Zelda game at release. So that's just the reality of where we're at with Nintendo and the power they have in the market right now. So again, I do think these titles are coming out. I do think we're getting a Zelda 35th Direct, and I think when it happens, hopefully fans are excited and not totally turned off by the $60 price points. The one question that I don't know how to answer is, will they release these games at the same time at $60 a piece? I don't necessarily think that makes the most sense. We might see like Wind Waker HD announced for, let's say, a middle of the year or after Skyward Sword, maybe the towards the back half of the year, and then Twilight Princess HD comes out a couple months after that, because I would be surprised if they put two $60 games on the market at the same time. I think they give you at least a couple months to prepare for purchases in between in case if you're wanting to pick them both up. Very rarely, outside of like a Pokemon scenario, do we see them release two full-price games side by side at the same time in the same franchise. So all of the information still remains to be seen. I'll continue to cover it here on the channel, but I did want to throw my 2 cents into this price discussion because even though it's not what fans want to hear, it is the reality of what I think we're expecting to see from Nintendo this year as we walk forward into Zelda's 35th celebration. Thanks so much for watching the video today, everyone. I do truly appreciate you all sticking around until the end. I do at this point in the video want to invite you all to leave me a comment, share with me your thoughts on what we can expect from Nintendo in Zelda's 35th anniversary. Do you think we're getting more titles on the way? Do you think Skyward Sword was actually the only main $60 release and that, you know, we maybe won't see these games actually come out like the journalists are saying? Or do you think that we will get these Twilight Princess HD and Wind Waker HD, but maybe Nintendo will release them in a bundle pack and you think that I'm wrong about them coming out at the $60 a piece? So please share all your thoughts with me down in the comments below. I do look forward to getting a back and forth conversation with you guys started around this topic. And then before I do end the video, I just want to quickly invite you all one more time to join Sunbro Nation if you haven't done so already. Do so by subscribing below, hit the like button on your way out on this video if you enjoyed the content today, and make sure you turn on your bell notification icon so you're kept up to date with all the newest gaming and console news as we're in the new generation of gaming. That's going to do it for me, guys. I hope you all have a great day. Sunbro Nation, out.